Hey everyone, so I decided I want to show you like exactly all the tools and stuff that I have. So, but this is not necessarily stuff that you have to have if you want to do DIY projects. Obviously what you have is up to you based on like what's available, what you can afford, what you happen to come across, or whatever. So anyway, but I'm going to show you my collection of tools and such little things. Be warned, my room is a pigsty. And so you're gonna get to see like the utterly sloppy side of me. Yeah, so alright, let's get started. Oh my god, look at this mess. Oh, even worse, the beer cozy has no beer in it. I'm gonna cry. Oh my god. Oh, and this needs to have the lid on it because I don't want to lose any of my little straight pins. That's not good. Oh yeah, these count as tools, so I'm going to gather some of this shit up. And I'm going to make a little pile of it over here so I can show you. But anyway, alright. Any other tools laying about? Yes. Yes, lots of tools actually laying around that are supposed to be, like, put away. But they're not, because I've been such a slob lately. I mean, like, there's, like, my pajama boxers and socks on the floor. And like that thing is hanging open. You can see like shoes in there and stuff. And yeah, it's a total pigsty. I'm kind of embarrassed, but you know what? Nobody's perfect. Some people have messy rooms sometimes, even like the most like anal retentive, bipolar, OCD, Asperger's people like me. And there's like tons of mail I'm supposed to be dealing with. So yeah, things have been real hectic lately. Ooh, stamps! I found some stamps. Those probably need to go in the garbage. I was saving these like old candle things because I thought they would lend themselves well to a project, and I haven't thought of a project yet. They've been sitting here for like 2 weeks, and so I'm kind of like on the fence as to whether or not I should like just throw them away. But anyway, okie doke, here we go. So this is like my little supplies, little storage bin thing. You can get these storage bin doohickeys at Joann. I got this one at Joann. It was like, I don't know, 20 bucks maybe? I don't know, but it's relatively heavy. It is weighted. I think it can come apart if you really want it to, but it's got like bigger drawers and smaller drawers, and so yeah, I'm showing you what's in my drawers. So anyway, all the stuff that's in these things is not tools so much as it is just like just supplies and fabric scraps and that kind of crap. So anyway, alright, let's get started on the tools. Ooh, that shouldn't be there because that's I'm gonna hurt myself on that. It's not good. Let's see, where's the other studs? Where are you? There they are. Okay. Alright. So I want to get the big heavy stuff out first. And we're just going to lay it down over here and come back. Oop, I was tripping over my own feet because of my Colette's. I may not have any beer, but I do have some wine. At the end of the day, it is nice to have an alcoholic beverage around. Anyway. Okay, now it's easier to pick these up because there's not so much shit inside them. Alright. There's some tool thingies. Oh, look, and more tool thingy. Alright. And that doesn't want to stay straight. Even on a memory foam mattress. Yeah, this is a memory foam mattress, guys. I'm so spoiled. Okay, so I think this pretty much sums up for some tools. I mean, however, this is not all my tools. I have access to like tons and tons of tools in the other side of the basement. My dad's workbench area, if you could even call it that, because it's such a pigsty. Like, see how messy like my workspace is? Like, that's what my dad's workspace on the other side of the basement looks like at all times. Shit piled everywhere. It's on the floor, it's on the workbenches, it's hanging from the ceiling, it's mounted on the walls. It's a complete pigsty. Like, I would feel so blessed, like, if I ever had a workspace like that. I mean, an actual art studio, or like an area where you have your tools and your stuff. I mean, I'm kind of starting to give up my hope of owning a home, really, because I'm 32. If it hasn't happened now, and like I'm about to change careers, then it's probably not ever going to happen. But anyway, if I had an art space or like an art studio or workplace like that, I would be like taking way better care of it, and I'd actually be using it. So, I mean, like, if I could convince him to revamp his tool space and get rid of that shit and let me kind of like move in there or whatever, I would totally go for it. But I don't think he would go for that at all. So it's not gonna happen. So anyhow, let me show you all this crap. Ooh, get down here. First, I'm going to show you this flashlight. You're probably wondering, like, well, why the fuck would you need a flashlight in an art studio or craft area? You never fucking know. This flashlight is kind of special. It does something really interesting. It's also very practical. I'm going to show you what's practical about it first. Now, see this little flat thing? You're probably going like, well, what the fuck is that? Well, you know how when you're like, you have to lay a flashlight down to get some work done? It doesn't roll away. It stays right where you put it. And also, I put a note on here because I used to have this on my first bus I ever drove. My first year driving, bus number 0628. And so I had my name on it, and people, like, I had learned that at my bus compound, people have a pretty bad habit of stealing shit off of each other's buses. And so I put do not remove, I mean it. And, I mean, I was pretty aggressive about that, you know, as far as, like, making sure people understood, like, you touch my shit, you're in serious fucking trouble. So, and somebody actually did steal this flashlight once before I put the do not remove, I mean it. And I just basically, I mean, I knew who did it. So I went up on their bus and just fucking stole it back, whatever. But anyway, it also has ghosts. No, gravity. A magnet. Watch. And look at that. And now I can turn this thing any direction I want. And see, like, I can rotate it and then turn it. And see, this thing comes in handy. Because, like, if I'm working in a space where I've got some metal and I need light, I can just, like, stick this, like, on a ceiling or something. So, and also this actually makes a good reading light. Like, I'll sit in my bed sometimes if I just want, like, the lights to be dim in here. But I do want to have a light to read by, but I want it to be, I mean, I want it to be, like back here behind me or something. I can use this flashlight, and it's a great reading light. But also, this lends itself really well to craft stuff. And also, like, if you're working on your car, you can stick this thing up on the underside of the hood, and it's pretty great. I mean, look how strong this magnet is. Like, I'm pulling on this, and it's making the whole bed frame like shake. And I'm pulling, not pushing. So, all right. Okay, next. Now you're probably wondering, why the fuck do I have a flea comb? Well, the reason the flea comb is so useful is it's good for fraying denim. Like, I have plenty of holes in my boyfriend's jeans to make some frayed pants for him. And actually, by taking the end of the flea comb, the teeth here, and rubbing it against where I cut on the denim, it actually frays it quite nicely. And also, flea combs are actually really awesome for installing dreadlocks, because I used to have dreadlocks. I've installed dreadlocks on people before. A flea comb is actually a really nice thing to have. So, especially like a really good, like a nice one. This has got like a nice soft grippy handle. And also, you could probably like dip this like in some paint and make stripy streaks with it or something. So, or probably working with clay or working with silicone or something like that. I mean, it has so many applications. So I would recommend getting a flea comb. If you already have one, then go ahead and like nab it for your art studio and just buy another one for Fido. Alright, sewing scissors. Now, you've heard me rant and ramble and rave about sewing scissors. Now, sewing scissors are far superior to regular scissors when it comes to cutting fabric. Let me explain why. They're much sharper. They stay sharp longer. Alright, you get a clean cut. They're heavier. They're more well made. And Fiskars is the brand. Oops, sorry. Fiskars is the brand that I recommend. So, there you go. So, yeah. And here's another pair of fabric scissors. It's always good to have a spare pair. These are the old pair. this is the new pair here. So the old ones are good for stuff like if you just, if you know, for travel or something, like you want to have a pair of sewing scissors with you, but you don't want to lose your good pair, keep your old pair and they'll come in handy. So, I mean, I use these for all kinds of things, like mainly like if I just need to cut like little bitty, like finer spots, like little fine points in fabric. See how bulky this tip is compared to this tip? So, yeah, keep your old fabric scissors around. You never know when you might need them. Alright. Thread nippers. Now, the reason you want to use thread nippers to cut thread instead of fabric scissors is because nipping thread with the tip of your fabric scissors will actually cause them to become dull. And you'll notice that when you're cutting fabric that the end part of where you cut, near the end of the cut, it'll look kind of funny, like warped, frayed. It won't look as good. And it'll actually cause you a little bit of trouble later on down the road when you try to actually sew with a machine. So thread nippers, they're actually pretty inexpensive. They're very sharp. They do tend to last quite a while. So, yeah, use thread nippers. Alright. Okay, this thingy. This is a surgical clamp of some kind. It's got little teethy bits. See the little teeth on the clamp? And it's also got this thing so that you can lock it shut. See, like, let's see something. I'm trying to find something I can use as an example. Here we go. Let's see. Oh. Something in here. Nope, nothing in there. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to find something I can use. Here, I'll just do this. There, see? And now I can lock this. And it's holding it like no matter how I need to hold it. If you're trying to like hold an item still, or like if you're working with something over top of like a flame or something like that, you do have to kind of like move your hand a little bit and manipulate the item. However, it can be kind of tedious to focus on having to hold a clamp shut while you're doing all of that. Your hand will get tired and you'll end up dropping your item into whatever it is you're holding it over, or something else will happen. And so I actually recommend these locking clamps. I'm not really sure where this came from, but I know that there's a guy at the Kentucky State Fair every year, like in the flea market area in the South Wing, who sells like used, cleaned surgical equipment. So maybe this came from that guy. I don't know. I can't remember how I got this. I'm pretty sure maybe it was probably my dad's. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. It's pretty handy. Alright, next. Your basic clip. You clip something with it. You can also like hang it up with stuff dangling from it. You can also hang this thing up too, actually. Once you've like locked it shut, you can hang it on something and it'll still be there later. So, yeah. Your basic paper scissors, because you never ever want to cut paper with your sewing scissors. It will make them dull. Alright? Use regular scissors for paper. Use fabric scissors for fabric, okay? Alright, I'm not sure what kind of scissors these are. I hardly ever use them. They're in my possession for one reason or another. I have no idea where they came from. They're very interesting. So, but they're just another tool. So, yeah. This thing, this is a rasp. Notice how, I mean, it's very heavy actually. Like, I could break this piece of glass right now just by tapping if I wanted to. This thing is actually quite heavy. So, anyway, it's got these like teethy bits, kind of like a file. And notice how they're different sizes and different patterns on each side. This comes in handy for fraying fabric. It comes in handy for grinding down plastic or wood. Also for like if you want to grind on some metal to remove some gunk or something. But this thing is very heavy and actually it can hurt you. I mean, if you hold it or touch it just the right way. So yeah, this is something that is definitely very useful, but you have to be careful with. And as you can see, it's kind of rusty and it's got some like paint or something like that on it, just from over the years being used for things it probably wasn't supposed to be used for. So you want to keep this thing dry, actually, because, you know, like I said, rust. So, alright, the rasp is handy. And I've also got your basic ruler. It's a 12-inch ruler. On one side it's got inches. Oop, why is it so blurry? That's better. It's got inches and then centimeters in the other. And on the back it's got this cork stuff going on the back. I'm not really sure what that's for. I'm guessing it's just to kind of like give it some cushion so that when you have to press down on something, it kind of helps it stay in place. Kind of like a non-slip pad, if you will. So I'm not sure why the word dot or DOT or whatever is written on here. It's kind of a mystery. All right, next. All right. A nice like heavy jar is what I use to store this stuff in. I'm not even sure what this jar had in it at one point. I'm guessing a candle or something. I don't know. So anyway, this is a bead sizer. Basically, you put a bead on it, and if you need to be able to match a bead, two different beads, and make sure they're the same size, but you can't tell just by looking, this thing comes in very handy because you can put the bead on it and figure out which level or whatever fits best, and then match the other bead to it. So that's what I've used it for anyway. Alright. A basic little bitty paintbrush. It's kind of like messed up because someone used it and then didn't wash it, and so now it's like stiff and messed up. So anyway, but I kept it because I'm sure it's useful somehow. So whatever somebody used it for was glittery, because see the glitter coming out of it? Okay. I have a teeny tiny, there it is, a very teensy tiny Phillips head screwdriver. Can't have enough screwdrivers. A regular sized flathead screwdriver. Alright. And this is a bead rasp, actually. You use this thing, see how it's rough? It's got some like tooth to it, kind of. It's rough, it's got texture. You can actually use this and rub the inside of a bead with it to make the opening bigger. So that works with like wooden beads, but on glass beads you have to be kind of careful. So some very basic wire cutters. You can see they're very fucked up and mangled. They were rather cheap. I bought them in a cheap ass kit at Joann Fabrics. I mean, I really don't see a reason to throw them away just yet. They're still useful, kinda. So yeah, wire cutters are handy to have. And I've got this really odd looking pair here of these pliers. It's like it's like needle nose pliers kind of, but longer. And for some reason it's got all these like springs and adjustment doohickeys on it. So it comes in handy. A more conventional pair of wire cutters. And these things are magnetic, actually. Most tools, in fact, are magnetic these days. That way, in case you drop what you're doing, it's easy to... Oh, why is it not picking that up? Let me try something else. Oh, it's not picking that up either. What the fuck? I'm disappointed. Come on now. Don't do this to me. God. Anyway, maybe on another tool. Oh, come on. Why does this thing have to be this way? Anyway, they're supposed to be magnetic. I don't know. But yeah, they've got a metal handle. A pair of needle nose pliers, as you can like see how big they are compared to my hand. So yeah, they're actually pretty small. So having an assortment of different sizes for needle nose pliers is kind of important, especially if you're working like with wire or beads or something like that. You never know where you're going to need a really tiny pair. And so like, here's the tiniest pair that I have. Look how like tiny that pair of needle nose pliers is. So yeah. And once again, there's basic just metal. Now let's see if these are magnetic. Yeah, I can feel it trying to stick, but I think that thing's too big for it to do it. So yeah. Alright, next. Another small pair of needle nose pliers. Not quite as small as the one I just showed you, but small enough. This thing, I think I showed you this in the video about making the choker. This is a leather punch. I mean, you can also punch like vinyl or plastic with it. But this tooth thing on here is actually like really super duper sharp. I mean, I can hardly stand to touch it. But, and there's the little hole that it goes into. It makes a spot where you can install a metal stud, you can install an eyelet, or if you just need like a hole so you can sew some leather, because some people like to sew leather because of the look that it creates. So, yeah. And they're also very small. I wish I had a much bigger pair so I could do more stuff. And here's your basic pair of pliers. And of course you can adjust the size on them. Come on. None of my tools are cooperating this evening for some reason. Oh, well, never mind. You guys get the idea. Yeah. This thing is a bead scoop. You, like, use to scoop up little tiny beads. And it's also, like, like a little tiny tip, but it's a big pair of tweezers. Kind of like that board game from the 1980s. Do you guys remember the big game Bed Bugs? Where the board vibrated and the little bugs would hop around, little plastic bugs would hop around everywhere, and you had to, like, pick them up, and whoever had the most bugs in their little cup or whatever won. Like, I think somewhere I still have little plastic bugs from that game. I don't know, I'll have to look and see, but yeah. Basically, it's a scooper, but it's also picker-uppers for beads. So, alright, let's get this stuff out of the way. Make sure I'm not putting any holes in my bed sheets. Oh, this thing, this is a lid off of a plastic container. And these things come in really handy for if you just need to do, like, a little bit of paint or something. So, yeah, I save plastic containers and lids. I mean, okay, I'll go ahead and admit I kind of hoard them because they are very handy for DIY and, you know, paint stuff. Alright. Okay. Now, this is a flower pin that my daughter gave me. I mean, I just kind of, I don't use it really, I just kind of let it display. So, anyway, there's that. And, of course, you want to have your basic pencils, even though that's not sharpened, because I hardly ever use pencils. That one is sharpened, okay. What the heck is this? What is this? What the fuck? Antibacterial hand spray. Huh. I don't know why the hell this is even in with, like, my art studio stuff. This should be, like, someplace else. I'm gonna stick it over here. And there's nothing else down in there. Alright. My mug had the handle broken off. I'm sad. Anyway. Alright. To the collection of scissors, just a basic pair of little kid scissors. I'm sure I had these at some point when I was a little kid. I can't remember when exactly. Or they could have been my sister's. I don't know. Now this pair of scissors, obviously they've been around for quite a while. My mom bought these for me for school supplies in like 1992. I kid you not. These were my scissors in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade for like basic classroom stuff. And I just never parted with them. They still are in great condition. They still cut. They're fine. So I'm not going to throw them away. You know, I've kind of gotten attached to them. So more pencils, permanent markers, a highlighter. You never know. Basic pens and whatnot. The reason I have my markers stored upside down, actually, is because if you think about it... come off there. If you think about it, the tip that you use to write with, you know, is where you want the ink to be. And so we all know how gravity works. So why would you store a pen like that so that all the ink is being drawn to the bottom? Or to the butt part of the pen? I would prefer the ink stay at the end where I'm going to be writing. So I always store my stuff upside down. So, yeah. That's, anyway, that's... So, yeah, that's my tools and supplies. So, there you have it. Anyway, so I'm sure I've got like more stuff elsewhere over there that is buried underneath the mountain of shit. And I've also got like a whole bunch of like paints and other supplies and scraps and stuff I want to show you guys at some point. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Not particularly purposeful, but definitely killed some time and kept you entertained for a little while. So anyway, I guess that concludes it. And do you want to see my messy room one more time? Sure, why not? Let's see. Alrighty then. I guess that's it. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and any questions or anything, just put in the comments below and I'll try to get to it eventually. So, see you later.